guys, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the TBR book tag. I've been tagged to do this book tag by Katie from Katie and Her Cat. So she's a great content creator, so I'm gonna link her channel down below for you guys. Go and check her out because she has some great content in there. But I've been meaning to actually do this tag for a while, but now that I've been tagged, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So let's do it.
Just do it!
The first question is, how do you keep track of your TBR pile? And for me, I do everything on Goodreads. If I am interested in reading a book, or if I heard someone talking fondly of some specific book, I'm just gonna add it to my shelf, and then once in a while I just go through the to be read shelves and just remove the things that I'm no longer interested in. That's normally how I do it. It's really convenient for me because I can access it on my laptop, but I also can access it through the app. So if I'm on the go in a bookshop or a charity shop, I just pop open the Goodreads app and then I can check if this specific book is actually on my TBR or not. Normally I add a lot of things to my TBR pile or shelf on Goodreads, and then most of the time a lot of times passes by and I don't pick up the books, which is absolutely fine. This is not something that I follow absolutely strictly. If I don't feel like reading something, then I will just remove it from the shelf, or if I feel like maybe later I will feel like reading it, then probably it was gonna stay on my shelf on Goodreads. But most of the time this is how I keep track of what books are on my radar. But as I said, I don't really follow this very strictly, so the TBR shelf on Goodreads is quite large. Question number 2 is your TBR mainly print or ebook? And I'd say, I haven't really counted it yet, but I'd say probably physical is the main TBR. Probably 80% on the TBR is physical, and then 20 is ebook. With physical, I used to buy a lot of books from charity shops, and I would still buy a lot of books in there once they reopen. But the books in there, they're mainly used, but they're also really cheap. So whenever I go to charity shop, I get a lot of books, and they're like £1 or £2 each. So it's really worth getting them, especially if I'm interested in them. And then with ebooks, I always check the Kindle daily deals and the monthly deals, because they have ebooks available for less than £1, which is great. The last Kindle book that I've purchased was the whole trilogy, which was, I think it's called The First Law, but it starts with The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. The whole trilogy, all 3 books were less than £1 altogether. I mean, it was a bundle. Altogether it was less than £1. How can you not take it? It's a really great way of getting really cheap books, because they really have very good deals. This is how I end up with a lot of books on my TBR shelves. Question number 3 is, how do you determine which books to pick up from your TBR pile? This year I started making monthly TBRs. I decide on about 4 or 5 books that I really want to get to that specific month. Normally it's a mixture of genres. I think if you put a lot of one genre in your TBR, unless you are crazy freak fan, then you may easily get bored with that genre and with reading. So I always tend to do a mixture of genres, a fantasy, a contemporary, or a mystery. It's normally a mixture of genres, and I just normally tend to select the books that I'm really interested at that point in time. This year I started using my TBR mag, which is this one. So I created a list of 20 books for 2020 that I really need to finish this year, and all the titles I put in the mug, and then every month I take 1 or 2 titles out of it and just add to my monthly TBR. There's no really rhyme or reason when it comes to picking up the books from that specific monthly TBR. It's just whatever I feel like reading next. Question number 4 is, what is a book that's been on your TBR pile for the longest time? And for this one, I must say Sapiens. I've added Sapiens to my TBR when I first started watching BookTube videos, which was years ago now. I really was interested to pick it up So I bought this also years ago, and then my boyfriend decided to start reading it before me because I was just reading something else at that time. So he decided he's gonna read it quickly before me and then I can pick it up. This is how far he got into it, and he's still reading it, and this is why I haven't still picked it up. But I really need to push him to do it because I still want to read this book, and even those years later I really want to get into it and see for myself if it's something for me or not. So yeah, Sapiens. Question number 5 is, what is a book that you recently added to your TBR pile? I'm gonna say something that hasn't been released yet, but it's definitely on my radar. I'm really looking forward to picking it up as soon as it comes out in February next year, and it is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. So this is supposed to be a prequel to The Hate You Give. We are supposed to be following Marverick. Obviously, for those of you who've read The Hate You Give, Marverick has been in a gang, and we're gonna be following his life as gang member. So it sounds super interesting. Everything that Angie Thomas has put out so far I really enjoyed, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one, and I just recently found out that this is coming out, so that's my pick for this question. Question number 6 is, what is a book on your TBR that is there strictly because of the cover? And for this one I've got The Deathless Girls. I think this book has the most beautiful cover out of all of the books on my shelf. It's stunning, even outside, and like all these front pages, they're really beautiful. It is not strictly on my TBR just because of the cover. I actually received this book as a gift. Where I work, I do event management, so we organize a lot of events, and we happen to organize a book party launch for Hatchet's Children's Group, which is a book publisher, and that was a book launch party for The Deathless Girls together with Becoming Dinah, which is also on my TBR. Let me see. That's the second one. I was the one organizing the party launch, and as a gift from the publisher, I received those 2 books. So this is how I got those 2 books, but I think this cover is absolutely stunning, and also the premise sounds really interesting, so definitely something I will be picking up. Question number 7 is, what is a book on your TBR that you are really excited for? And for me, it must be Becoming by Michelle Obama. I've been meaning to read this book for the longest time, especially at the end of last year. I've been really feeling that I want to get into the story and I want to read about Michelle Obama's life. So I got this as a Christmas gift because I was apparently talking too much about this book, and I still haven't picked it up. I mean, I read the preface and I enjoyed it, but then I don't know what happened. I guess I was pulled into some other books, but I definitely want to read this, and this book is definitely on my 20 books to read in 2020, so definitely will be picking it up by the end of this year. But I'm really excited to read this and to learn more about Michelle Obama's life. Question number 8 is, what is a book on your TBR shelf that basically everyone's already read but you haven't read yet? And I think for this one I must go with Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Vicious and Vengeful, which is the sequel to Vicious, these 2 books have overtaken BookTube and in general online book community by storm. Ever since they came out, I've been hearing how great Vicious and Vengeful are, and yeah, I still haven't read it. Definitely interested to read and see for myself if it's really worth the hype. But essentially this book follows 2 men who used to be friends, now they're enemies, and I know there's some superpowers involved in it, so it sounds really interesting. Generally I'm trying to stay away from any spoilers or extended plot summaries because I don't really want to know that much going into a new book. So this is why I can't really tell you much more, but probably you've already heard about it or you've read it already because they are so popular and so massive on BookTube. Question number 9 is, what is a book on your TBR shelf that everyone's been recommending to you? For this one, I'm gonna go around the bush kind of, because I haven't received that many recommendations from people in the bookish community. Well, at least not directly, but I heard so many good things about Where the Crawdads Sing, but also the average star rating on Goodreads for this book is 4.49, I think, which is extremely good. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything higher than 4.5. The general consensus is that this book is great, and I've seen so many booktubers recommending it. Yeah, that's my pick. Question number 10 is, what is a book on your TBR shelf that you are dying to read? And for this one, I'm gonna go with two. I have both of them on my Kindle, and it is Dark Matter and Recursion, both by Blake Crouch. I know people have been gushing about both of these books, and I don't know much about either one of them, but I know that they're both kind of mystery stories with some sci-fi element to it. Don't know much more, but it sounds super interesting, and so many people fell in love with this book, and I've seen it on people's top lists of 2019. Definitely really excited to pick up either one and both of them. And then the final question, question number 11 is, how many books do you have on your TBR shelf? And I've just counted them. I have 18 ebooks on my Kindle that I haven't read yet, and on my shelves I have 80 books that I haven't completed yet. It is a scary number, but again, it's okay. I don't tend to get intimidated by the number of unread books on my shelves, so for me, this number is just a number. I really don't care. But it does make me think a little when it comes to like buying new books. But there are just so many new books that are coming out, and there are so many good deals on Kindle that I can't really stop, you know. But at least then I'll have a large amount of books and so many different stories to choose from for my next reads. And then in general, on my Goodreads shelves, I have 227 books marked as to be read. I know it's quite a lot, but again, I don't get too worried about this number. I know that some people have like 5 times as much as I have in there, so it just depends on the person that you are. I really don't care if I have so many books marked as to be read, because I know every day there's so many more coming out and I would probably be interested in them. And then every day I lose interest in some of the other ones that I thought that I will read. Also, my reading taste changes. I recently decided to start picking up horror books. I used to be really scared of horror movies and anything that's like even tiny bit scary. To me, that was too much. But lately I've been watching some more psychological thrillers and some scary movies, and I was okay with that. So I think I really want to try to read some horror books and something that is on the scarier side. So yeah, I'm not worried about that. Okay guys, so this is it for the TBR book tag. Be sure to let me know in the comments what are your answers to these questions, and especially how many books do you have on your TBR shelves. And I would like to tag Sari from Wow I Read to do the same tag. Obviously, if you feel like it, Sari, no pressure in there. But if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for some more bookish content. Thank you very much for watching again, and I'll see you again with another video soon. Bye.